Welcome to our introduction to HTML, and we're going to be talking about HTML basics within this lesson. So what is HTML? HTML is what the browser uses in order to determine what content to output in order for the user that's coming to the website to be able to view. So you can go to any website, you can do viewed page source, and you can see that all of this content here is brought in via HTML. So this serves kind of like a blueprint in order for the browser to understand what it needs to be outputting. So you can kind of think of it similar to a frame of a building or a blueprint for a building. And then the browser would be the construction company that comes along and builds that building really fast according to what the blueprint outlines. Initially, when you are looking at HTML, it looks like there's quite a bit of stuff there and there's quite a lot to learn. But when you start to really look at it, you see that a lot of these elements in HTML keep getting repeated. And this is the nature of HTML because you're actually building out that blueprint for what is going to be contained within the website. And then alternatively, you're using CSS, so that's cascading style sheets, in order to style the website, to tell the browser how to make the website look. And finally, you'd be using JavaScript in order to have any additional functionality or anything that would be interacting or interactive within the website itself. So going back to our example of a building, so if the HTML is the basic blueprint, the CSS is the part of the blueprint that tells these construction workers who are the browser to how to style the building, what it's going to look like, what materials to use, and so on. And then JavaScript would be the actual functionality that's contained within the building, so maybe opening doors, opening and closing windows, and all of this gets constructed by the browser, who are the really quick construction crew. So when you look at a website as well, you can kind of look at it more in a wireframe format. So you've got your basic structure here, so you've got a navigation here, you've got some content, you've got some images, and so on. So this helps better visualize what's going to be output onto the website. So that's why we do these wireframes and blueprints, and we just kind of do a quick mock-up of what we want the website to contain as well as what we want the website to look like. So again, that's going to be CSS that's going to take care of that. So for this course, we've set up a basic HTML template. So right now it really doesn't look like much, but when we go to the source code, you can see that we've got our initial document opening here. We've got our HTML opening and closing tags. We've got this meta tag here, a title, and we've got our opening and closing head, and again, our opening closing body. So in order for the browser to render out anything within the browser view, it actually doesn't need to have any kind of structured code. So if you were to write just hello world and save that, and if I go back out and I refresh it, I can see that I've got hello world in the source code, and also hello world actually shows up within the browser. So it's smart enough to be able to render that out. But there's a few drawbacks to this, because if we just do that, then we're actually not including the document type. And this document type here is an introduction for the browser to understand what type of content it's going to be. So it understands better what type of content to expect, and it also, when you build out more pieces into your document, it's going to be able to better render that out, because it's going to know that this is document type is HTML, and this is the current way to write and indicate that it is an HTML document. So previously we were writing out longer content, something like this. So this would have been for HTML4, and again, it's going to indicate that it's an HTML document, and but there's quite a bit more there. So now all we have to do is just declare it as document type HTML, and the browsers are going to understand that this is a brand new HTML document, HTML5 compatible coding. And after we've done a document declaration, so we've let the browser know to expect an HTML document, we've got our opening and closing HTML files, tags. Within these tags, this is where all of that HTML content and code should be placed. So you can see here at the top, we've got an opening and a closing head, and that again, this is just the heading content, and it's not meant to be displayed out onto the page itself, the web page itself. So the only thing that you actually will see if your browser is set up for it is that you're going to see the title here up in the top part of the tab here. So this title here is going to be the same thing that we've written in here. So we're just going to change that to HTML course and save that and go back out here, refresh it, and we see that now the title is placed within the tab here. And again, we're not seeing anything out here within the body of the HTML document. And the other thing here is that we're indicating what type of character set it is. So if you're using a standard, and this UTF-8, so these are common characters from the English language. So depending again what language you're using, and again this is going to help the browser understand what type of content it can expect onto the page itself. So this is another thing that should be included within every HTML page. And then of course the title, because this, as well as with SEO, this helps out quite a bit, but it also gives your users an indication of where they are. So we can see here within our tabs, we've got a bunch of different titles here, and we want to quickly be able to go back to our HTML course. So that's where the title comes important, and then as well for SEO, and when the search engines are indexing it, they are looking for these titles in order to distinguish it within search results. So that's what's contained within the head section. And then of course if you had any CSS styling, you can link to your style sheet, or you could do on-page styling over here, so you could open up the style tag and add in styling here as well. And then finally, or lastly, we do have the body structure. So this is going to be the core part of the HTML document that's going to be seen, or that's meant to be seen by the viewer going to the website. So we're just going to type in this hello world once again, go back out to the page and refresh it, and you can see that it does show up there. So again, it's showing up the same way that it was initially, but now instead of having this as our source code, when we go over here, we've got our HTML formatted source code. And then going back to our coding here, we've got the ability to really start to build out our HTML document. So we can start with heading tags. So again, most of the HTML elements have this opening and closing structure. So where we would enter in content between the opening and closing tags, and again we see it here with the body, opening, closing body, opening, closing HTML. And I'm just going to type in HTML course and go back out here, and we can see that we do have, I've got it zoomed in 100%, so the H1s would come in at this size, and you can see that they're bolded. In the next lesson, we're going to be talking more about how to structure content and add different elements within HTML.